In the still of the night, a whispering wind carries tales of terror from antiquity, tales that make one's blood run cold, tales that have been passed down from generation to generation, each telling adding a new layer of fear, a new dimension to the horror that lurks within the pages of a book. Yes, dear listeners, we are talking about the timeless classic ghost stories of an antiquary penned by the master of the macabre, Mr. James. This collection of spine-chilling tales has stood the test of time, continuing to haunt readers long after the book has been closed and the lights turned off. For it's not just the stories that are terrifying, it's the way they're told. Mr. James had a unique knack for creating atmospheric settings, painting vivid pictures with his words, making the reader feel as though they are walking through the haunted halls of a castle, or standing in the eerie silence of a deserted graveyard. He wove intricate plot lines, each twist and turn pulling the reader deeper into the story, their heartbeats synchronizing with the rhythm of the words. But it's not just the plot that keeps us hooked. It's the characters. James had a gift for creating characters so real, so human, that one can't help but empathize with them, feel their fear, share their dread, and pray for their salvation. Each tale in Ghost Stories of an Antiquary is a masterpiece of suspense and horror, a testament to the power of the written word. But as we all know, horror is not just about the gore or the jump scares. It's about the anticipation, the dread, the feeling of unease that lingers long after the story has ended. So, dear listeners, prepare yourself for a journey into the heart of darkness, into a world where the line between the living and the dead is blurred, where every creak of a floorboard, every rustle of the wind, every shadow holds a threat, every silence a secret. Now prepare yourself as we delve into the realm of the supernatural, where every shadow holds a threat, every silence a secret. Behind each antiquated object there lies a tale of unimaginable horror, waiting to be unearthed. In the hallowed pages of Ghost Stories of an Antiquary, each tale is a masterclass in suspense and terror. The author's skill lies in taking the mundane and twisting it into the macabre. Take, for instance, the tale of the mezzotint. Here, a simple piece of art becomes an instrument of terror. The image, initially depicting a manor house under moonlight, begins to change. It morphs into a chilling scene of a spectral figure creeping into the house, carrying away an innocent child. The horror lies not in gruesome detail, but in the subtle transformation of the image, the dread anticipation of what's to come. In another story, The Ash Tree, a quaint country estate becomes a breeding ground for unspeakable horrors. The story revolves around an ancient ash tree, one that harbors a deadly secret. The tree, a seemingly harmless part of the landscape, becomes a character of its own, a silent killer. It's not the tree itself that's terrifying, but the deadly creatures it houses, and the gruesome fate they bring upon the house's inhabitants. Then there's the Rose Garden, where a simple gardening project unearths a centuries-old crime. The horror here is not of ghosts or ghouls, but of the lingering echoes of a brutal act of violence. The Rose Garden, a symbol of beauty and love, becomes a chilling reminder of a cruel past, an eternal memorial to a horrific crime. These are but a few examples of the author's genius. He takes the ordinary and infuses it with a sense of unease, making us question the safety of our surroundings, making us wary of the familiar. His tales are not just ghost stories, they are psychological studies, explorations of fear and dread. And so the stories continue, each one more chilling than the last, each one leaving us with a lingering sense of unease. In the world of Mr. James, fear is not just a feeling, it is a living entity, lurking in the corners of our mind. It's an unsettling presence, a shiver that crawls up your spine, a whisper in the silence that makes your heart pound. This is the essence of psychological horror, a genre that James has masterfully embraced in his book, Ghost Stories of an Antiquary. Let's delve into the mind games that the author plays, spinning a web of terror that ensnares not just our senses, but our psyche as well. James doesn't rely on the grotesque or the gruesome. Instead, he subtly weaves an atmosphere of unease, hinting at horrors that lurk just outside our field of vision. He toys with our perception, making us question the shadows that dance at the periphery of our sight, the creaks and whispers that echo in the silence of the night. As we journey through the pages of this book, we realize that the terror we experience isn't just about what is seen or heard, It's about what is felt. The cold dread that seeps into your bones, the prickling sensation at the back of your neck, the gnawing fear that something is terribly, terribly wrong. It's the anticipation, the waiting for the other shoe to drop, that truly terrifies us. James understands this all too well, and he uses it to his advantage. He makes us feel the presence of the supernatural even when it's not explicitly stated. He makes us fear the dark corners of our own minds, the places where our deepest, darkest fears reside. And he does this without resorting to cheap thrills or graphic imagery. Instead, he uses our own imagination against us, turning it into the most potent weapon of all. In the end, the true terror lies not in the ghostly apparitions, but in the dread of the unknown, the anticipation of the horror yet to be revealed. It's this unspoken fear that lingers long after the last page has been turned, a chilling reminder of the power that stories have to haunt us, even when we're wide awake. The echoes of these ghost stories resonate long after the book is closed, leaving an indelible imprint on our minds. These tales, steeped in macabre and draped in dread, have an uncanny knack for lingering in our subconscious, stirring a primal fear of the unknown. Through the masterful storytelling of Mr. James, we've traversed the shadowy realms of the supernatural, experienced bone-chilling terror, and felt the icy grip of fear. The stories of ghost stories of an Antiquary hold a timeless appeal, weaving a tapestry of horror that transcends generations. They have influenced and continue to shape the landscape of horror literature, setting a high bar for atmospheric storytelling. The chilling narratives, the unforgettable characters, and the pervasive sense of dread have left an indelible mark on readers and writers alike. As we bid adieu to the chilling world of Mr. James, remember, the next time you encounter an antiquated object, be wary, for each object holds a story, a ghost story of an antiquary.